Hey, welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a very tense past few months in the realm of reworking, as some interesting changes have gone from PTR to live. Of course, we all know I'm referring to Mercy getting some seriously damaging reworking. Of course, it's not like I'm sitting here with my finger up my nose like, duh, the Mercy changes are fine, just because they don't affect me since, I never really played Mercy in the first place. The thing is, the Mercy changes really did affect other people, so as someone who's trying to help guide the community a little bit, I do feel the effects of it. The other side of the story is that it did give the other healers a chance to shine and get a higher pick rate. On the other hand, a good chunk of Mercy mains don't know what to do with their lives, and they're sort of looking towards DPS instead of other healers, so there's that too. In my opinion, I don't mind that her pick rate has dropped by more than half. Honestly, the less mandatory that any hero feels, the better. And with that, let's talk about a hero that everyone complains about, but quite clearly not a lot of people actually find in their games. Every time that you complain about finding a Hanzo in every game, you're actually just incorrect. His pick rate is absolutely terrible, sitting under even Widowmakers. Whoa. Now, I actually hate Hanzo with a burning passion. Just about everything about his playstyle, people who one-trick him, and his stupid ankles. But most importantly, the biggest reason I hate Hanzo is because of his stupid scatter arrows. Scatter arrows, as such a heavenly RNG ability, doesn't really have a place in Overwatch. I'm actually surprised that they kept it this far after the betas and release. Every time someone dies from a scatter arrow, another Mercy gets nerfed. It's been clear to everyone that we need to change this ability, but what should it be changed to? Well, I was holding off on making this video until we got word from the devs about their opinions and what they've been toying around with. Finally, we did get something from Geoff regarding a whole bunch of abilities and weird things that they were trying out with Hanzo that aren't really going to be included. The first thing that they tried is replacing scatter with a piercing arrow. It would go through barriers and have a very fast projectile speed. It would essentially give you one Widowmaker snipe that also goes through barriers, and that, understandably, was a little bit broken. Just try to imagine a nano-boosted Hanzo firing that into your Ryan's head and almost one-shotting him. And although abilities that go through barriers aren't new to Hanzo, his ultimate being a final example of that, this projectile is too fast to dodge, and in the most literal sense, there's nothing you can do against it except for deflect and defense matrix. And even then, no one would have the reaction time to pull that off even slightly well. Not to mention that, as someone who's been picking up Reinhardt a little bit more recently and is very much still a Pharah main, that would be the most anti-fun arrow ever. Remember, we're not trying to replace cancer with more cancer. The next thing that they tried was just changing scatter arrows significantly. So essentially, they removed floor scattering altogether, so that's kind of alright. Increased the projectile speed, okay. Made it so that it could only ricochet once, that's a thing. And has a tighter spread, which is, just kind of neutral. This is an interesting concept, but a big problem was that it had almost no good surfaces to ricochet off of. As Geoff describes, it was actually pretty fun to use, which is obviously one of the big factors that the development team has to consider. And as it stands, scatter arrows isn't fun to use, and it is especially infuriating to get killed by. The problem with the new scatter was that it was really inconsistent, and using your cooldown to essentially get a faster shot just doesn't feel good to the player. Finally, the last thing that they playtested was a really insane ability bound to his reload key, which is obviously unused. For a small 2 to 3 second animation delay, your cooldowns would reset. When paired with Piercing Arrow, it was actually kind of interesting, but the fact that Sonic Arrow is already a really good part of his kit kind of broke that mechanic. Now, I think that these are all really interesting ideas that we can still make work. First of all, with Piercing Arrow, it would do better if it was on a fast cooldown and had reduced damage on it if it goes through a barrier. This way, shooting logs through a Ryan shield won't feel as cheesy, and you'd still need to get headshots for insta-kills on squishies. But you can't melt the shield tank itself as quickly. Of course, in higher tiers this ability might be completely broken, but I still think it could make its way onto the PTR for now. When it comes to the new scatter, I think it's definitely interesting, but not exactly perfected yet. So I think there's more work that can be done on it. Reducing the damage per scattered arrow, or giving it a damage cap of 200 are some ideas, but I'm still in favor of removing it altogether. And finally, for special arrow reloading, this one's simple to fix. For Sonic Arrow, remove half of the cooldown timer it has left, and for Scatter or Piercing, reset it completely. This way you can't abuse it to get your Sonic Arrow back instantly, and your main ability can still have a reset. So I think these are all really good ideas, but as Geoff mentioned at the beginning, these are just the things that didn't work out in the end. So they're still working on something, but what could it possibly be? Now we're heading into speculation territory. What else could Scatter be replaced by? Well, Hanzo doesn't exactly have any defensive or mobility abilities, other than wall climb, which is kind of too slow to get away with anyways. A proposed idea is for Hanzo to have a backflip ability or a disengage like many ranger classes in MMOs have. Depending on how high he backflips, it could even be used vertically. Another idea for escape utility is a smoke bomb that could teleport him or turn him invisible for a few seconds. After all, he is an assassin, and I'm surprised he didn't already have something like that just due to lore or something. A final idea for an ability would be something called Archer's Focus, which could increase his draw speed and have arrows curve slightly towards the closest enemy, making it easier to hit a shot. It might only last for 1 arrow or maybe up to 3, it could even have charges that last 2 or 3 seconds each and have a sort of transformation effect, but have a longer cooldown. In any case, I think the dev team is getting closer to a better Hanzo every day, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what they have in store for us. But that's it for today, guys. I want to know what you want to see for the new Hanzo, and whether or not you agree with the potential changes proposed in today's video. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and hit the bell icon to get notified daily about the next video. This is Carter signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.